My name is Dr. Christopher Lynn. I have a PhD in anthropology, and I am a full professor in biocultural medical anthropology at the University of Alabama, which means I study health outcomes. We're interested in how culture and biology interact and influence health outcomes. One of the main areas of my interest is the evolution of self-soothing, right? Being able to be in a social group and deal with all the pressures and tensions of living in that social world and be able to basically control yourself. The sociologist named James McLennan, he's got this theory called ritual healing hypothesis. Part of his logic was that Homo erectus sitting around a fire those who found it relaxing and calmed would have been maybe easier to talk to. Sitting around fires is sort of a jovial time where people tell stories, and that those Homo erectus who had that capacity would have developed that cooperation more easily. Because, as he said, fires are relaxing, and everyone knows that. But there was no citation to that. You need to cite someone. Someone should have done some research, and yet there's no research that had ever been done demonstrating that fires are in fact relaxing. So maybe I can do a quick and dirty study to demonstrate this. So we thought, well, if there's been an evolution of this, we should look at contemporary variation in this to see if there is a basis, a physiological basis for making this evolutionary claim. And one of the ways that we thought to examine this was to take away all the technology and look at how humans might have self-soothed in antiquity. And we saw the potential for fire, which humans have had a relationship with for as long as maybe 800,000 years, as a possible sort of pivot around which we could do a study like this. So fires and candles are things people look at to self-soothe. So we wanted to test whether there is actually a physiological response, and if we could find it now, we could imagine that it actually may have developed in antiquity. We did a study to test humans' ability to self-soothe through what's called the relaxation response, which is essentially the opposite of the stress response. We found that when that fire is a multi-sensory experience, that watching a fire is one aspect, but watching a fire, listening to a fire, sitting in the dark, smelling a fire, and having friends around you is a completely immersive experience that definitely sucks people in, gets them social, and allows them to relax in a calm environment. So we thought, well, if there's been an evolution of this, we should look at contemporary variation in this to see if there is a basis, a physiological basis for making this evolutionary claim. So we conducted a laboratory study to look at self-soothing vis-a-vis fires. We actually had people put a blood pressure cuff on, watch a fire under multiple conditions, one with sound, one without sound, and a control condition. We measured their blood pressure right before the condition, and in between conditions. So we had them watch a fire with no sound for 5 minutes, and then science, we want a control condition, right? So we want to measure their blood pressure and their skin conductance in response to something that's standard, that doesn't change. So while the conditions sound kind of funny, what we're actually saying is the relaxing effects of fire is that it's a multi-sensory experience that stimulates all 5 of your senses. When you have all 5 of your senses stimulated, it's a truly immersive experience. We looked at heart rate variability in the 4 conditions and then just compared the 4 conditions to each other without all of the controls. And we found, without even including all of those controls, that there's a statistically significant effect. As an example, just 15 minutes watching a fireplace can decrease heart rate and reduce blood pressure by as much as 6 points on average. So what that means is, even rough and dirty, we're seeing a relaxation effect already. Reducing heart rate and blood pressure and truly being able to relax can help reduce the risk of stress-related health issues like heart disease. I'm really grateful to have had an opportunity to test something that has real-world implications. One of the things that our culture is constantly engaging with is how people can reduce their own stress. You can actually self-soothe as easily as potentially lighting a candle, darkening the room, going to your backyard fire pit, sitting in front of a fireplace and zone out a little bit and get a little mindfulness in.